Jimmy Smith, Boy Wonder. A tiny voice asked, "Is he the one?" The night was dark, as black as a bat. Jimmy is a prince. These aliens are trying to capture him. So then they can go to the secret lab. He lives with his mom and dad. His mom and dad are king and queen of Worldland. It is a kingdom where everyone is happy. The lab has a powerful magic cube that could make the aliens the most powerful beings in the universe. Jimmy had the key to that lab. One night while Jimmy was sleeping in his bed, little lights appeared. The lights are aliens that are trying to take over Worldland. They are trying to capture the prince so the king can notice that his son is gone. The king said to himself, "Who would have done this?" Then an idea came to him. The aliens who tried to take over the Worldland when he was a boy. The king flew to the aliens' ship. He knew he had to go and save his son, otherwise the aliens would take over Worldland.
The harp. So it's true, he thought. It's really true. Tanner could not believe his eyes, so he blinked and blinked again and again. But that did not work, so he walked up to the little pond and dunked his head under the water. And it got soaking wet. And guess what? That did not work either. Tanner soon started walking up to the harp that was across the pond from where he was. He stopped and heard a noise. He realized it was the harp, Ari's harp to be exact. Ari is a famous harp player. She died a long time ago. Legend has it that the harp plays by itself. Tanner never believed it, but now he does. He got bored and just sat down on an orange and purple rock. It was very smooth. He heard a voice, a very similar voice that it said, "Find the harp string. The harp will help you find it. Then you will be free." His hands started shaking. He was sweating. He went to go find the harp string, but it was too hard. After a while, he found it and tried to put the harp string on the harp. But the harp kept on shuffling and shuffling. Soon, he caught it and put the string on it and tried to run out, but he could not. The voice said, you ripped the string. Fix it. Then you can get out." He found a leaf and fixed it. The harp string, he put it on and played the harp, and it did not work. He said, "When am I ever going to get out of here?"
A strange day in July. He threw with all his might, but the third stone came skipping back. Blake got a strange feeling across his face. When Mary goes back to the house, she looks over her shoulder and sticks out her tongue. Blake is still at the lake. A little bit later, Mary comes back but does not see Blake. Blake can see Mary as clear as day. What was wrong, he thought. He grabs the stone and it silently goes into his pocket. He soon realizes that the stone is half magic. The both of them head home in the dark. Thump, 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 up the path their feet go. When they get home, Mary races into the kitchen, out of breath, and tells what happens at the lake. That night, they were sent to bed without supper for their crazy talk. When Blake gets to his room, he takes out the stone and sets it on his dresser. The next day, Blake checks his dresser and it's not there. Blake calls Mary in and says it was there last night. The both of them go back to the lake, and there it is. There's the stone. Mary picks it up, and in a blink of an eye, Mary starts to turn into sand. The stone drops, and Mary's gone.
Another place, another time. If there was an answer, he'd find it there. Ava, Max, Jason, and Lily raised the sail and went rolling down the hill beneath Mystery Lake. An amazing thing happened. Even though they were underwater, they could still breathe. They saw thousands of people, but they were tiny, and the smallest fish were big. Everything was flip-flop. In front of Lily, laying on a rock, was a book, and before their eyes the book started talking to them, and then the book said that if the children wanted to return home, they must do something first. The only way Ava, Max, Jason, and Lily could get home was if they solved the riddles in this book. That made them feel sick to their stomachs, but they realized the riddles started out easy. Each one got harder to solve until they no longer could figure any riddles out. Max, Lily, Jason, and Ava didn't know what to do. Suddenly, a big fish swam up to them. "I will help you with these riddles." Could they solve them? Could this fish really help them get back home?
Mr. Benson's bookstore. Emily went to the bookstore. She bought a few books. The bookstore man warned her about the deathly maze, but it was too late. The book had a curse. The curse was if Emily didn't solve a mile-long maze before 7 o'clock, she would be stuck in the book forever. But if she did solve the maze, the curse would die and the book would turn into a regular old book. When Emily heard the curse, she was as scared as someone being attacked by a shark. Then Emily went to the maze. When Emily was in the maze, she met a guy named Bob. Bob was a crazy man. He even knew it. Once he thought he could swim across a river in fire without an injury, he ended up breaking all his bones. Bob thought he knew where the end of the maze was, but Bob actually brought Emily back to the beginning. Then Emily had tears roll down her cheeks because it was 6:30 and she only had 30 minutes to finish the maze.
The third floor bedroom. It all began when someone left the window open. "Hi, my name is Snow. I've been stuck on the sturdy old wall with all my friends for hundreds of years. I tried to get myself off the wall. It took me almost a week to get off that stinky old wall. I flew out the window into the dark abandoned streets, wondering where my long-lost friend Crystal went. Snow has been worried sick trying to find Crystal. Snow has no idea where Crystal is. There's a long journey ahead. Snow flies days over lakes, mountains, oceans, and rivers to find him. Snow spots a teeny island and stops to rest. Snow was flying through the tall palm trees looking for food, feeling the wind blowing in her face like big fans. Then suddenly she heard a loud whoosh. Then boom! There was a moment of silence. Suddenly she heard a loud, "Help me!"
Captain Torrey. He swung his lantern 3 times and slowly the schooner appeared. Norbert's dad, Torrey, was in the Navy. Torrey had just got back from World War II. They had won. As the schooner got closer, Norbert could see it was floating a little bit above the water. It glowed neon green, flesh was waving off the schooner, and behind it, bones were falling in the water. He thought it was familiar, but he couldn't get it off the tip of his tongue. The ship got closer and closer until Norbert was so close to it he could touch it. But suddenly Norbert saw a ghost pirate float up into the air, and faster than a blink of an eye, Norbert's dad was gone and the ship was flying away. And then it hit Norbert. The ship was from his storybook. The ship's name was Black Mercy. It was the scariest story in Norbert's book. But how was he going to get his dad back? Norbert's heart was breaking. This was the first time he'd seen his dad in 8 years, and now he was gone again, probably for another 8 years. Norbert started bawling his eyes out. About 20 minutes later, Norbert stopped crying because he had an idea. He ran home as fast as a puma. Creak! He went into his room and was looking for the book, because if he did, he could somehow get in and try to get his dad back. Norbert was looking everywhere, but he could not find it. Then he found it, buried in a pile of dirty laundry. Norbert picked it up. He looked at every page, but could still not figure out how to get in.
Archie Smith, Boy Wonder. A tiny voice asked, "Is he the one?" The voice belonged to a mouse that was white and had a bald tail. He was working for human-sized rats. Squeak, squeak, scurry. The mouse, who was named Mo, ran away. Mo was a messenger for the rats. The bad guys are snakes. They can be big or small. The snakes bit the humans. Their venom turned them into rats. The leader of the rats is a scarred rat named Cliff. The rats need help from Archie because they are tired of being slaves for the snakes. The quest will make the rats humans again, but if Archie does not succeed, then Archie turns into a rat too.
Captain Torrey. He swung his lantern 3 times, and slowly the schooner appeared. John saw it. It was a skeleton ship coming out of the water. John tried to run, but Captain Torrey picked him up. Swoop! He grabbed him like a cheetah getting its prey. Torrey threw him into the water. I'm telling everyone about this ship, John said. Torrey said John must survive underwater for 2 days. If you die, you die. If you survive, you can tell anyone you want, Torrey says. Torrey didn't want anyone to know about the ship he was building. Torrey gave him a scuba suit. John puts it on and went underwater. He went straight for the ship. John sees one person and a robot dog on the skeleton ship. Then he broke the bottom of the ship. The robot dog and the man walked over to John. He asked if they are okay. They said they are being held prisoners. I know what to do. Follow me. John gave him a scuba suit. They both know what to do. 1, 2, 3, jump!
Another place, another time. Adam and Riley and Tyrell were going to an underground lair to meet a king named Hudson. They wanted to figure out how to save their town. The dam broke and all the water was coming into the town, Hudsonville. The king said he had a special robot called Toby. This robot was super strong. The king said maybe the robot could help the boys fix the dam. The robot was fixing the dam and the robot dropped a log. The log fell.